Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and my coffee chat this morning kind of spread a bunch of questions, and people started asking me things like, hey, I thought you said before that, body fat can make you slightly stronger. Why are you saying that there can be benefits to being leaner for a strength athlete? What are you talking about? Even though that conversation was really about bodybuilders, but I did mention strength athletes cutting, and let's talk about that for just a minute. Now, the thing you guys have to remember is that very, very, very few strength athletes compete in an open-ended weight limit sport, meaning very few powerlifters compete as a super heavyweight, which means you're allowed to be 308 pounds or heavier with no top end limit. Those people are competing in weight classes. The overwhelming majority, and it's the same with other strength sports. And even when you start getting into something like the NFL, you can only weigh so much for them because they need conditioning. And if you're 400 pounds, you're going to run out of steam during the game. So we get into these questions of, so why are a lot of powerlifters and other people holding extra body fat? And it's quite simple, because you lose strength when you cut. It might only be a temporary loss, and a lot of guys have successfully dropped weight classes through purely losing fat, lost strength, and then regained their strength and rebuilt it back up to where they were in the weight class above or even past it. But it takes time. A lot of strength athletes don't want to do that for obvious reasons. Nobody who focuses on strength wants to get weaker. And we know that the mere act of eating more food improves performance during the time that you're doing it. So again, somebody who's always wanting to make continual progress is always going to want to be eating a lot of food. Now, we also have the thing of body weight itself makes you stronger, whether it is fat or muscle, due to pure leverages. That's absolutely true. But when we get over into the context of weight classes, let's say we're dealing with a drug-free athlete who is competing in the 90 kilo class, and he's at 24% body fat. Well, who's going to do better, all other factors being equal, similar leverages, similar genetics, training background, training style, in the 90 kilo class? If you're 12% body fat versus 24, well, obviously the guy who's 12% body fat is going to have a lot more lean mass. He's going to have a lot more room to have muscle mass. In fact, that 12% gap, we're talking about up to 10 kilos difference. 10 kilos of muscle can put a hell of a lot of strength on you if it's strategically placed for your particular sport, or, let's just say powerlifting. So we'll stick with what I compete in, even though it's only one of many. 10 kilos of muscle put in the right spots, your glutes, your quads, your traps, erectors, pecs, is going to bring your total up dramatically. So while yes, the extra 10 kilos of fat will make him just slightly stronger due to leverages, it's not going to give him nearly the strength that 10 kilos of muscle would. And in fact, if a guy is sitting at 24% body fat and then 90 kilos, a drug-free guy, I might actually recommend that he cut down and compete in the 82. If he's got a nice long off season between and he's got 3 or 4 months to cut and then grow back into his strength, over the course of another 2 or 3 months, he could absolutely do that, and he would probably be a lot more competitive in the 82. Now, he might lose just a little bit of strength from where he was at in the 90, but his Wilks score is going to be dramatically better because, again, losing 8 to 10 kilos of body weight is going to take some strength off of you no matter what. You're going to lose a little bit of leverages, but his pound-for-pound strength is going to be a hell of a lot better once he regains strength. And particularly if he goes back to where he was in terms of strength in his higher weight class. So it's always the option. Now, there are finite limits to this, and it's like I've tried to tell people before, when you start getting into these ultra lean body fats, I'll give you 3 examples. 3 world record holders who are 10% or lower body fat when they compete. In raw powerlifting, you got Stan Efferding in the 275. He's also an IFBB pro bodybuilder. Guy stays really lean year round. Jamie Lewis, the 181-pound world record holder, I think he set it 2 years ago. I think he might have been edged out now. I don't remember if he has or not. He stays very, very lean. I've seen him as low as about 6 or 7% body fat. Dan Green, same thing. Dan Green gets into the single digits. He's the 242 raw world record holder. So these guys tend to be very, very lean, but these are untested, obviously are allowed to use gear year-round guys. They get away with this. The drug-free guys, I'm going to tell you, don't go under about 10%. Most of you, your ideal Strength is going to be somewhere probably in that 10 to 12% range for pound strength. Now, there are exceptions. There are those genetic freaks who can be ultra strong at 7% body fat, but they are very, very rare. Those are people who are naturally 10% body fat before they ever got into weightlifting. These are the people who, when they bulk, they don't go over 12% body fat. That genetically rare individual can get away with leaner, but most people can't. So if you go under about 10%, your strength is going to really take a hit because you just need that for everything from hormone production to energy and everything else for a drug-free guy. But you're going to be better off pound for pound than you are at, say, 20% body fat. So we get into this issue of, does the fat make you stronger? Yes, just slightly, and there are a number of factors, but if you're competing in a weight class and you are capable of holding enough muscle to be lean, you're going to be so much better off if you are leaner, just because your strength to weight ratios, and these do matter in sports. All strength sports are weight class based. And even then, when you're dealing with field athletes, you run into the same thing. They can only carry so much body weight, even if it's extra fat or muscle, before it really becomes to hinder their performance on the field, like American football, rugby, something like that. And if they can have that same weight be muscle rather than fat, obviously they're going to perform better. So even though they may not have a weight class, they still have overall weight limits in terms of what they can handle while maintaining their conditioning and ability to perform the entire competitive event. So hopefully that clarifies that, and it makes a little more sense now for everyone. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.